NBIS has been on a roll, recently being at $75, now stepping its way up higher, looking for upper price targets, then rolling over. Is this an early sign of lower price action to continue in this lower high trend, or are we going to see stock price being bought up for a lower high to sharpen the sword and head right back up for sustained upside? My name is Dylan from Dylan Trades. We're going to break down and analyze ticker symbol NBIS. Going first to the weekly as always to get the long-term bias, then going to the daily and the hourly to get a full scope TA breakdown. NBIS still has a really clean rising ascending trend line where effectively, as long as price is still in this fashion, long-term bullish. It's not always that you can say, hey, there's one very clean ascending trend line. There's a couple actually right now hanging around. APLD is a good one. We'll jump to that in a second. But there's this really clean ascending channel where price has been very resilient. Did go parabolic from that momentarily to 141, but pulling back, consolidating, getting energy for quite some time now, looking to head higher. Unexpected pullback to start the week. There was some short-term signs which we will get into soon, but really strong close here within the last week's candle. Right, you see a really nice high over here, getting a nice close over $100, $103, separating over this range, looking for a nice pop over the top. I mean, really nice signs here, but could not hold this high very clearly at $100 to 102. Broke that as the week transpired. You kept dripping lower, as that does happen, right? When you break a big level like this, this is a fake breakout. Doesn't mean that it's over, but we are seeing a blip in the road, a wave in the ship, right? So all in all here from NBIS, you just don't want to see price regress too lower. It's one of those instances where obviously it popped right back in when it shouldn't have. Over these highs, a pretty nice big progression here. Nice little range. Now you're popping back in here. So you do threaten to chop around here for a little bit. Don't think that's going to happen though, just because of the volatility and the nature of the NBIS trading. So right now within the weekly, there's not a ton you can get over. We have two areas of value though. For the bulls, you need to get over $100 to 103. You need to reclaim this level, get over that, as this was the level where it dropped. Pain stepped in. Right? You've seen the big drop back to that last support. And to the contrary for the bears, if you want to see this momentum continue to play true, you're going to need to break this low of the week at 93.20. And yeah, it's really as simple as that. From this weekly perspective, we don't gain a lot. You will jump to the daily and hourly. But obviously, if you contain this upside here and drop back within this low, then you do threaten to pop back within this little range, which price was very tight in before this last 2 weeks. So that is what the weekly looks like, guys. Nice strong analysis here, all in all within the long term, setting these waves and waves and going up until effectively you see a really hard rollover. Then you enter correction territory. It's still bullish from the weekly perspective, but you do threaten a negative week or two to come if more volatility does stay true. So with this being assessed, we're now going to jump to the next step, which is the daily, where each one of these candles are 1 day. 4 consecutive red days in a row to end the week with a really nice pop and nice strong upside here. I mean, pretty violent fake breakout. Clearly seen how key this $100 to 103 resistance was. So key here. I mean, just so obvious. I mean, you've used it as big resistance, back tested it for support to up to the 140s. Big drop off, you bounce right back to 133. Right, this was the level where you seen the breakdown, and price even formed a little tight ascending triangle here right on this level. I mean, this is such a validated resistance where once you get above, it's very rare, especially with this hold here, using the support and then starting to lift off to just pull back like that. Very sharp, unexpected movement. So once broken $100, it does make sense why you've seen that volatility drop back to this next zone. As of right now, seeing some details around $94 to this $96 zone. A lot of zones here in NBIS. It's not really these flat levels, more or less of a zone. Previously seeing a lot of respect over here not too long ago. Now right back at that former resistance using as support. So all in all, this really does equate right back to the weekly. Momentum's going to be key here. right? If you see a nice strong upside here, you definitely could start to curl up come next week. I mean, you're targeting right back over 100, 103. This is one of those analysis where you've made a perfect U-turn right back on the support with some wicks. You could start to see the upside here. You could, right? Most definitely. Or you will see price roll over. So come Monday, Tuesday's action, it's really going to speak in volumes here. If you do see a downside from the spot, I would expect a back test of that big $90 psychological, that flat 80, 90, 100, 70, 60, 50, right? These $10 intervals likely to come back to that big, prior resistance here, which we did call $100 price target at 90 bucks to come back to that. As of right now, I would predict that to happen, but it really is tough to say because we're seeing these wicks defend the zone. It's not a super concrete analysis here. We're always going to keep it, very sharp and professional here on the channel, just as I do in my own trading. It's the whole point of this channel: transparency, accurate TA, and we've been very spot on the ball here. But with all this being said, the data is very in the air. Coming to next week, if we see that strong upside, well, these 4 consecutive red weeks followed with a pretty sharp pullback from this high over here, down 15%. Likely going to shoot the other way for some sort of a test of 100, 103 in this zone again to see what is cooking. Can the buyer sustain? It's definitely one of those setups where, despite a pretty nasty, rounding top here, rolling over, it could keep going. It could. We just need to see a little bit more data. I would lean on the downside, just being that I'm not too bullish on the overall market here. And when things are this, this tight, you do want to lean on the market. You do want to look at what the S&Ps is doing. There's a lot of fear in the world going on right now, and overall market remains to be very strong, but you do got to question what's going to happen over here within the technical aspect. Not going to get into that. It's a whole separate video. Market could definitely keep going, but there's a lot of data we need to see along the overall market here to synchronizing. So all in all, keep an eye on your floor of $94. Right? If you collapse from these very obvious defenses, strong with momentum, $90 at the next test, and I would be shocked to see $90 not hold. It's a really big level here, and I would expect some sort of a back test and at least a battle. Sit here for a little bit, maybe get a bounce. Definitely not one of those where I think you're just going to plunge. That'd be very unexpected here. And to the contrary, if you press up to 100 to 103, you might see a little bit of battle in the zone here. So very tough one to analyze within the next 5 to 10 days, as the next few will be concrete. Keep an eye on your low of this week around 94, covering the support, and then keep an eye on 100 and 103. That's what the daily shows. So we're now going to jump to the 1 hour candlesticks, and this is very good for the Monday, Tuesday action. So this will be really nice for this analysis today. Within the last week's update, we did monitor, right, this very sharp ascending channel, which is great. I mean, these structures, as long as you're holding in it, where are you going? You're going this way, right? You're going up. And you seen that drop, a gap down to start the week, really big gap down to start the week, actually. Dropping down right at market open 5%, and now you're plopping down from that. You're testing the zone for quite some time. You drop down, bounce, looking for a break over that. This is called a break and retest. I'm sure you all know. If not, it's okay. Right, a big support level, which it was at one point, right? We're starting to use that as support, bouncing around. Right, and then you break down, look to go over it, but now it's flipping as resistance. Right, and that was not a good move for the buyers, and now just kind of knifing down. But you still see the defense here. I mean, there's some pretty nice reversal signs here. So once again, I'm not counting NBIS out here. It's very close here. I would assess about a 55 to 45 on the downside. Very close. Could see a triple bottom here start the next week. Boom. And then testing this level up here. It's very hard to give a short-term analysis, especially when a lot of these stocks are synchronized. This is the truth with technical analysis. We set a very high probability on NBIS not too long ago. Right over here, 90 bucks, expecting 100s to come. Set about 8, I believe it's an 8 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10 probability. Very high confidence, but as of right now, it's very in the air. And anyone being concrete in the short term here, they're either not in the game long enough or they're just lying. It really is. So all in all, within this perspective, we have to keep an eye on the levels, keep an eye on 94, keep an eye on 100, 103, and more or less than that, even more important, where is the momentum? right? Is there a strong week to come? If there's a strong week to come here for NBIS, I mean, boom. I mean, we could start to curl up. A little bit of an inverted head and shoulders here. Could start to see that come into play. A lot of variances here of a strong bounce could be on the horizon, but you're going to need to see it to believe it. The next few days action will be super key for NBIS, and we'll get back on the channel and give you all a more concrete analysis when that data is presented. If you all found value in this update, drop a like and a sub for more of these kind of content. Once again, we'll hop right back on here Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll make it quick for you all. Have a good one, everyone. Take care. Trade smart. Peace.